Because of Turkey, a record has been set. More journalists imprisoned than anywhere else in the world.
I don't know if I'd call it a blizzard, but it's not like there's no snow on the ground. But last night it was kind of warm. You know, it's late season, so the snow melts and then freezes in the morning. And you know, so the plows, they push all the snow up to the side of the road, right? And I feel bad because there's this guy across the street from me who's parked in his driveway, and he's got probably a 2.5 foot mound of just ice blocking his car, and he can't do anything. So I'm pretty sure that dude's not going to make it to work. I want to talk real quick about partisanship in news. I kind of bring this up a lot because it affects me so much. But I'll start with a story. When I interviewed Jean Freak in Sweden, who's considered controversial, I had journalists hitting me up asking me why I was interviewing him, what we were doing, why was I with him. I had journalists tweeting at me saying, he's not credible, you can't talk to this guy. And it's kind of crazy to me that there's this culture within journalism about what is acceptable. And this isn't unique to Sweden. The US is very similar. I've had friends of mine in the US just repeat the official government statements in the past without doing any research at all. So here's the thing. I didn't get into this to be a journalist. I didn't go to journalism school. I didn't even go to college. I'm just a hacker, skateboarder, traveler guy who likes learning things and sharing my experiences. So if there's someone who's considered controversial or crazy, I'm gonna go talk to them and find out why. Is that so strange? But this is what I tell people, look, if someone comes to me and says, you know, lizard people are stealing the pizzas from Chuck E. Cheese's to build a pizza spaceship, yeah, I'm gonna say, sure, buddy. I'm probably not gonna go any further than that. But if someone tells me that a multinational corporation is colluding with foreign governments and politicians in some kind of arms deal or something, then I'm gonna Google search it, right? Doesn't any plausible story deserve a simple Google search? So, in the issue of Sweden, people were telling me not to go do it. And all you had to do was a simple Google search to realize that this story's been around for a little while and Trump didn't make it up. I think there's a lot of journalists that need to stop making assumptions and just start researching. But again, I never considered myself a journalist. I'm just doing this because I want to learn and I want to share what I learned. But I guess that is journalism. Unfortunately, there's this culture where certain stories are just not true no matter what, and the official statement is always true. I don't know, you got me, it's weird. You know, I thought if I came to the skate park to do this, the snow would be all fresh and clean. But sure enough, somebody showed up, hopped the fence, and ran around in the snow in the skate park. But this area is pretty deserted, I guess. What better place for a test with a new drone? It's a little windy, but I think that's okay. So this hole, I put this camera in there. This is the controller and propellers. Let's make it work. So just have to pop this off, pull that out, take the camera, They just stuck right into the side of the ramp. And that's why we call it a test, because the GPS gave out and the drone just crashed into the ice. How fun. Let's go home.
All right, well, I'm back, and the big story today is it's currently the elections in the Netherlands. So many people are wondering whether or not Geert Wilders' party will take a large number of seats in parliament, but I'm not going to talk too much about that because the election's still going on. I think the more interesting thing is the spat between Turkey and the Netherlands, and now Germany. So one of the most recent developments is that Turkey is now threatening potential sanctions against the Netherlands for what's going on. So to give you a bit of backstory, Turkey is about to have a referendum that would transform their government from a parliamentary system to a presidential system. Many people have criticized this because they feel it will give President Erdogan dictatorial powers, essentially. It would allow him to run for 2 more election cycles, potentially up until 2029. The Turkish ruling party has been trying to send ministers around Europe to rally support from expats to vote in the referendum to change Turkey's government. The Netherlands said no and actually blocked a minister from landing. This resulted in rioting, a bunch of people storming the streets waving Turkish flags. And recently, Angela Merkel said that Germany would also not allow foreign ministers to come have political rallies in their countries. Now you've got Erdogan accusing the Netherlands of being Nazi remnants, saying that they're fascists. You've got people in Turkey calling the Netherlands fascist. Well, this is kind of funny. So, how do I say this? It's a bit pot calling the kettle black, right? Let's talk about Turkey. Since the failed coup attempt, the Turkish government has detained or arrested tens of thousands of people and dismissed thousands more from their jobs. Turkey currently holds the record for the highest number of journalists currently imprisoned in the world. Because of Turkey, a record has been set. More journalists imprisoned than anywhere else in the world, according to the Committee to Protect Journalists. So it's really interesting to see a country that is transforming itself into a near dictatorship, criticizing the Netherlands because they cracked down on some riots. Now, I will say there are a lot of people in Turkey who believe that this referendum will be good for the country, and it's not too dissimilar from the United States system. However, critics of the ruling party and Erdogan say that he's simply playing on fears of terrorism and the failed coup attempt to rally support to give himself more power. Currently, he is essentially ruling by decree, as Turkey has been under a state of emergency since the failed coup attempt. The current state of emergency in Turkey allows them to shut down news organizations, bypass parliament, suspend civil rights, restrict speech, and jail people without proof, just some suspicion. So I'll say this, the current state of Turkey doesn't look good, and it's really funny to hear them criticize a country like the Netherlands. On a personal level, I have been to Turkey many, many times, and it's great. I really like Turkey. Baklava, amazing. I've spent a lot of time in Taksim Square. I've been to Taksim maybe 3 or 4 times. I've been to Antalya, and I really enjoy the place. So all of this is kind of sad. It's sad to see the current state of Turkey as it devolves into some kind of dictatorship. Now, it's still early, and it's hard to predict exactly what will happen in the Turkish referendum. But I have to say, in light of recent events, I don't think I'll be traveling there anytime soon. But let's keep our focus on the Netherlands because the election is currently going on as of the making of this video. So the next video I make will probably address the outcome of the Dutch elections. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching me fly my drone and talk about some international politics. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter @TimCast. Click the like button, it really helps. Comment below. Let me know what you think, because I do read your comments. And as always, subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.